Breaking news from Seattle: Tariq Woolen, the young star who once looked like the future of the Seahawks secondary, could now be on his way out. A shocking twist nobody saw coming, but is it really that surprising? Tariq Woolen's name is officially on the trading block, and this story has shaken the Seahawks community. Just 2 years ago, Woolen was one of the most exciting rookies in the NFL, a raw, freakishly athletic corner who looked like the next big thing in Seattle's secondary. 6 interceptions as a rookie, highlight plays that made fans believe the Legion of Boom might actually be reborn. It felt like the Seahawks had struck gold. But then reality hit. Since that breakout year, Woolen's play has slipped. The numbers are down, the mistakes are piling up, and too often he looks out of sync with Mike McDonald's defensive system. We've seen flashes of greatness, but we've also seen costly lapses, blown coverages, bad angles, and even times when he was benched. For a player once hailed as a future star, it feels like he's lost his way. And now, Seattle has to ask the hard question: is it time to move on? The Raiders are one of the first teams linked to Woolen, and it actually makes sense. Their cornerback room is battered, inconsistent, and flat-out struggling. Opposing wideouts have been torching them all season, and the urgency in Las Vegas is sky-high. They can't afford to keep losing ground in the AFC West. A player like Woolen, with his size and blazing 4.2 speed, could be exactly the type of gamble the Raiders are desperate to take. But for Seattle, what would the return be? Some dream scenarios have floated around, like flipping Woolen for Jackson Powers-Johnson, a young offensive lineman who could instantly add depth to a Seahawks O-line that has been shaky for years. Is that realistic? Maybe not. But if the Raiders want to save their season, they might be willing to overpay. The truth is simple: Tariq Woolen still has sky-high potential, but he's also a risk. Seattle now stands at a crossroads: keep betting on his upside, or cash out before his value drops further. Seahawks fans, I need to know what you think. Should Seattle trade Woolen now while his value is still high, or give him one more chance to prove he belongs? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this decision could shape the future of the Seahawks defense. When you talk about trade value, one name that keeps popping up is Jackson Powers-Johnson, and let me tell you, this kid is no joke. He's not just some average lineman. Back at Oregon, he was a monster. He won the Remington Award, which goes to the best center in all of college football. He was an All-American. He's tough, versatile, and you could line him up at guard or center and feel confident he's going to hold his ground. Now imagine him in Seattle. You plug him in, and suddenly this offensive line looks completely different. You could finally sit Anthony Bradford, build protection for the future, and give Geno Smith, or whoever the QB is down the line, a chance to actually play football without running for his life every snap. That's the dream scenario. But here's the problem: why in the world would the Raiders give him up? Jackson Powers-Johnson looks like the future for Vegas. He's young, he's talented, and he's already proving he can handle the trenches. On the other side, Tariq Woolen has question marks. He's in the final year of his rookie deal, and there's no guarantee he signs long-term with anyone, let alone the Raiders. That risk drops his value. And that's why the more realistic scenario feels a lot less exciting. Seattle ships Woolen to Las Vegas and gets back a 4th-round pick in 2026. Doesn't sound flashy, right? But hear me out. The Raiders are trending downward, and if they keep losing, that 4th-rounder could end up being near the very top of day 3. In other words, it might feel more like an extra 3rd-round pick. That's not nothing. For the Raiders, it's simple: they need bodies in that secondary right now. Their corners are weak, their defense has been exposed, and if they don't make a move soon, their season could spiral fast. Woolen gives them a long, fast corner who can step in immediately. For Seattle, you get a draft pick you can flip into another young player, maybe even the next gem in John Schneider's long history of late-round finds. At the end of the day, the question is Woolen worth more to Seattle on the field or as a trade chip? It's a gamble either way. So let's hear it, Seahawks fans. would you take that deal? Woolen for a 4th-round pick in 2026. Is that fair value, or do you hold out for more? Drop your answers below. What if I told you the Seahawks could add a young pass-rushing monster to an already dangerous defense? Yeah, that's the crazy rumor flying around right now, a potential trade between the Giants and Seahawks. The deal? Kayvon Thibodeau for Tariq Woolen. Straight up. Let's slow down and think about this for a second. Kayvon Thibodeau, just 4 weeks into the 2025 season, already has 2.5 sacks and he's living in the backfield, pressuring quarterbacks every single week. Now imagine dropping him into Seattle's defense, a unit that already has Byron Murphy tearing through offensive lines at a historic rate, Uchenna Nwosu coming off a 2-sack game, Boy Mafe winning pass rush battles left and right, and DeMarcus Lawrence plugging up the run. Add Thibodeau into that mix. That's like strapping a rocket booster onto an already fast car. Seattle's defense would go from great to terrifying. But here's the question fans keep asking, why in the world would the Giants even consider trading Thibodeau? Well, it comes down to roster depth. The Giants are stacked at the edge position. They've got Brian Burns wreaking havoc, rookie Abdul Carter already showing serious flashes, and they simply don't have enough snaps to go around. Thibodeau is in the final year of his contract, and if the Giants don't plan on keeping him long-term, maybe they flip him now before losing him for nothing. And let's not forget, the Giants are desperate at cornerback. Their secondary has been a nightmare, and head coach Brian Daboll is coaching for his job. If they can bring in Tariq Woolen, a big-bodied, athletic corner who can stabilize that position, maybe it keeps Daboll's season alive. But here's where things get tricky. Thibodeau isn't just another name. He was an 11.5 sack player 2 years ago. He's finally unlocking that potential people have been waiting to see since Oregon. Trading him straight up for Woolen might look like the Giants got fleeced, and that's the kind of move that puts a front office on the hot seat instantly. So would New York really take that gamble? Would they risk giving Seattle one of the most dangerous defensive fronts in the NFL? Or will they hold tight and keep Thibodeau as a building block? That's the drama of this rumor. It feels like a dream for Seattle, but a nightmare headline waiting to happen in New York. Here's the truth, if the Buffalo Bills have one weakness, it's not Josh Allen and that explosive offense. It's not even their front seven. No, the real problem is their cornerback room. The starters are banged up, the backups haven't been good enough, and in today's NFL, if you can't cover elite wide receivers, you're in trouble. That's why the name Tariq Woolen has been linked to Buffalo. On paper, it makes sense. Woolen is tall, fast, and dangerous in man coverage, exactly the type of corner who could thrive in their scheme. Give him a chance to line up against top AFC weapons, and suddenly Buffalo looks a whole lot scarier. But then comes the offer. And Bills fans, brace yourselves, because it's flat out insulting. Word is Buffalo would only be willing to part with a 5th-round pick for Woolen. That's it. One pick, late in the draft. And here's the kicker, the Bills are a powerhouse. That pick isn't landing early in the round. It's going to be at the very back end, basically the same value as a 6th-rounder. Let's be honest here. Tariq Woolen is not a 6th-round talent. He's not even a 5th-round talent. He's a starting-caliber NFL corner with Pro Bowl upside. Trading him for a throwaway pick feels like robbery, and not the good kind. Now, if Buffalo were willing to talk about a 4th-rounder, maybe there's a conversation. If the Raiders offer a 5th and Buffalo offers a 4th, then you weigh it out. But if the Bills stick to this lowball offer, there's no deal. Period. And here's the part that stings for Seahawks fans, this whole situation feels like it's been leaked on purpose. Rumors say John Schneider himself may have floated Woolen's name out there. And when a front office leaks a trade idea, it usually means one thing, they're ready to move on. The problem? The second you show your hand, the player's value drops. That's why I'm warning Seahawks Nation right now, don't be shocked if the eventual trade package for Woolen ends up disappointing. The Giants rumor with Kayvon Thibodeau. That's the dream. The Bills throwing a fifth-rounder at us. That's the nightmare. This is the risk you take when a team decides it's time to cut ties. The market sets the price, and sometimes the market is cruel. Be real with me, would you trade Tariq Woolen for a late fifth-round pick from Buffalo? Or would you rather keep him and ride it out? Seahawks fans, Bills fans, let's hear your voices in the comments.